Who is your daddy?
I am the father.
You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?
All right, we are at episode 140 of Fathers of the Grind. Sorry we missed it last week, but whatever. We're dads. We can't. Sometimes in our relationship with each other, we just need alone time. And so
Apparently.
last week we just needed alone time.
2018 has not been our most consistent year, but it's also been the craziest year for both of us. So it is what
It's
it
true.
is.
It's very true, but there's tons to talk about, I think. And we're gearing up for some pretty big games coming up next week too. So I thought it'd be good to connect. I'm glad you texted me that you wanted to record. I wasn't sure how your schedule looked, so good. I'm glad we're able to connect and talk again. Let's just jump right in right away with what are you playing right now?
Well, sadly, I am not doing very good with Shadow of the Tomb Raider or Spider-Man. I was super excited for both those games.
Now, what do you mean not doing very good? What does that mean?
Just not every time I boot them up, I play for 20 or 30 minutes and I'm like, nope, done with this crap. And it's not that they're bad games. So anybody who gets triggered by me saying, done with this crap, those games are amazing. No, it's what I've been saying all 2018. So I don't need to say it again. It's just these story driven games. I start playing them and I'm just like, you know what? I don't care. I cannot get into any of them.
That's a bummer for Spider-Man, especially. It's got quite a great story, and I thought it was a complete blast to play, despite I thought small nitpicks. I know some people thought I was being too harsh, whatever. My small nitpicks on it being a little repetitive, I stand by that. But boy, it's still a fantastic game. So
I really want to, and I will. I know I'll beat these games. I'm not going to blame it on, Derek's in a rut. I'm not in a rut. I think this is just Derek going forward. I don't buy as many games, and it's harder for me to get through them. But I really want to finish Spider-Man because I've heard nothing but great things about the story, about the ending. So I know eventually I'll get through it. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is fun to play. It's not that it's not fun. It's just, again, I'll boot it up. I'll play. I'll die a couple times. And I'm like, you know what? I just don't care. Or I'll run into a puzzle, and even though I have puzzles on easy, so no, it's not that I'm getting stuck on them. I'm just like, you know what? I don't even want to solve this. So I'm not going to play it. But I do have some, I would say, exciting news, and I think this would define my 2018 for gaming.
Okay.
All the games that I've gotten excited over in 2018 have just been, I would say, open games that I don't know how to say it. I just get lost in, and they're not story driven. Yes, Far Cry 5 had a story, but that's not why I played it. I played a lot of it co-op with my friend, and even when I played it solo, I don't know. I just wasn't focused that much on the story. I just played it and got lost in the world. And the game that I'm excited about right now is Forza Horizon 4. I got the $100 version, so I got access to it on Friday instead of it releases on Tuesday for everybody else. And I just have absolutely loved it. I mean, it's the only thing I want to play, and I've probably already put – this isn't going to sound like a lot for most people, but probably 3 or 4 hours into it. And that's a lot for me now because I just don't play games. But every time I play, I'm logging into Forza Horizon 4. And it's because, like I said, it's just open. I go to a race, I race. If I don't want to race, I just drive around. So it's just a really fun game. I like it way more than Forza Horizon 3, not because they changed the gameplay or anything. I think with the Horizon games, what separates them from each other is not really any changes to mechanics or story or anything like that. It's the world you drive in, and so I like Forza Horizon 4's world way more than I like 3. I like 2 a lot.
Where was 3 set? Because 2 is in the tropical place, right?
3 was Australia, I believe.
Okay.
And I liked it, but I just didn't love it.
And then 4 is now in Great Britain.
Yeah, and I absolutely love Great Britain. I love all the seasons. So far, I think you start out in spring. and then I unlocked autumn, and then I unlocked winter. And so I'm progressing I think pretty quickly through it. But it's just fun. I unlocked because I got the $100 version. I had access to a really, really nice car pretty quickly. I'm getting a lot of money real fast because what I always do in the Forza games is I try to get $1.5 million as quick as I can so I can go get my favorite car, and that's the McLaren P1. As soon as I buy that, I'm like, yeah, that's like ending to the game. I got my car that I wanted. But yeah, it's a super fun game. And like you said, it's real relaxed. Don't have to worry about mission fails or anything like that, or any puzzles. I don't have to pay attention to people talking. It's just a fun racer in an open world with a great world. It's absolutely gorgeous, by the way. It looks good on the One X, which I don't think you've played it, but if you haven't, download it.
I'll talk about it in a minute.
Okay, cool. Then you know it looks great on the One X.
I was going to say, are you really going to go with it looks good on the One X? I mean, that is about as pretentious as I think you maybe ever sounded.
And
it looks good on the One X because I know what you're going to follow it with. I know what's coming.
It's coming. But the measly 30 frames per second does not cut it.
Oh my gosh. I knew it.
Does not cut it.
Okay, new rule for you. Okay, here's the new rule. You are not allowed to be PC master race pretentious to all the console peasants until you get full-fledged back into gaming like you should, and you should in your heart of hearts. Like, what if Witcher 4 comes out? You're going to be like, well, I'm just not feeling it. No, it's not okay. And you are not allowed to tell me how things look unless you get back into it. That's the new rule.
Well, let's see, because here's another thing. I'm excited about it, but I was excited about Shadow of the Tomb Raider and Spider-Man, too. Assassin's Creed Odyssey comes out for me on Tuesday because I got the $100.
Keep moving the goalposts, man. I don't know if I like this. Keep moving the goalposts.
Yeah. So
when Spider-Man gets here, I'll get back. I think Tomb Raider is gonna be the.
No, I'm just not a gamer anymore. But yeah, I'm real excited about Assassin's Creed on PC. But as far as Forza Horizon 4 on PC, I have it on ultra settings, which what's so stupid is I have a really nice PC. And so the game boots up and it's like, well, we've set it to what we think your PC should run it at. And I'm like, medium settings? Get the freak out of here. So I put it on ultra. I turned everything up, and I'm still running at 60 frames per second, which is all that my monitor can handle. My monitor is not, it only does the 60 hertz.
Okay.
But it doesn't have HDR, which I know I got into it with Dan. Like, we weren't fighting or anything, but Dan was basically like, if you don't think HDR is important, then your TV is garbage. Well, here's the only reason why my TV is not garbage, because all you have to do is go to ratings.com and you'll see it's not garbage. Is it high end? No. It's mid-tier, but it has good HDR. It's not great. It's good HDR. It's good for gaming. Again, not great. But that being said, when you look at my monitor, which you can't because you're not at my house and nobody else is, my monitor has a very, very good coloring and lighting, and it's in native 4K, running everything at ultra settings. There is a difference. I'm sorry, there is. Even with as much as I love my One X, and I do love my One X, it does not run games at ultra settings. There is a huge difference, and HDR does not make up for that. You can't be like, well, my game has HDR, so it's better than yours. It doesn't. Do I like playing on my One X because it's in the living room and it's a little more convenient compared to me being in this corner over here with my PC? Sure. But as far as looks and how the game plays, and I purposely actually today, because I wanted to see if I could really tell the difference, because in racing games, it really is hard to tell the difference between 30 and 60 frames per second because the game still feels like it's going fast. But I'm just being honest. I'm not being pretentious. I could tell the difference. I was like, okay, now that I've switched back over to the One X, I can tell it's moving at the speed, but you can tell it's not. Things aren't moving as fast. It's not as smooth.
Is that because you played them back to back? You could tell the difference.
Yeah. And that's how it is with a lot of the games. Like, it does look really good on the One X. So it is one of those things where I have to get up, come over here, and be like, "Do you really tell the difference?" It's not something like where I would tell you guys, like, you only own a 1X, you don't know what I'm experiencing. The 1X is pretty close to what I'm experiencing. Yes, mine is better, and it is.
And I want that to be clear.
I mean, it's the same thing I say, you're a decent looking guy, good looking guy, but I am better. It's the same thing. But the point I'm trying to make is that it is an upgrade. But when you consider what I paid for my PC compared to what you guys paid for your 1X, I don't think it's significant enough that I would be like, you guys are missing out. Does that make sense? That's why I said I'm not being pretentious. Like, I think the 1X is a steal. When I hear people like $500 for a console, like this mid-tier console, like, get the freak out of here, dude. Do you not realize you're buying basically a $900 to $1,000 PC console? That's what you're getting. Like, I remember I bought the Alpha. The Alpha is like this. It's a PC, but it's a console. And the Alpha came out, the highest tier one came out at like $900, and I bought it. That was my first PC. This was before I got my big bad boy, and I was excited. And that thing could only run like Batman Origins in 4K. It was not that powerful. It ran things at 1080p, 60 frames per second, but it was not powerful enough to run games like this Xbox One X. And I paid, and that wasn't too long ago, $900 for that. You can get a 1X for $500, and it's running most games, not all of them, in native 4K. And if it's not running in native 4K, it's pretty close. And it runs most games at 30 to 60 frames per second at that high level of graphics. So anyways, the point I was trying to make, I know I veered off, but it's not like we have a lot to talk about this week. Forza Horizon 4 is gorgeous. It's a super fun game. Of course, you know what you're getting with those games. If you've played Forza Horizon before, you know what you're getting. It's an open world, arcadey. It's not like Burnout, but it's still really arcadey compared to like the regular Forza games. But it's real arcadey, real fun, and it's great for kids, which I'm sure I would imagine you're going to touch on, that you've probably played this in front of your kids, and hopefully they saw it and saw how amazing it is. But I think it looks good on both the 1X and obviously on the PC. So
yeah, we played it for a bit this weekend. I totally forgot that I had access to it this early, and I was actually clearing out games, trying to make sure things were installed that I wanted and getting rid of stuff that I was finished with. For example, I finished Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Mm-hmm. By the way, I like it a lot. Don't love it, but I do like it a lot. If you like Rise of the Tomb Raider, then you'll like Shadow. But
I was gonna ask you, because you had told me through text that you're like, I like it, but it's not amazing.
Yeah, it's not amazing. There's some problems.
How would you rate the trilogy? And what I mean is, like, which is your favorite? Which is your second favorite? Which is your third in the trilogy?
The original reboot and Rise are really close, because the original reboot I thought was really great, and it was just brand new. But I think Rise is a better version of that in pretty much every way. I liked the story better. I know some folks didn't, but I liked it a lot, and it kept me engaged. I wanted to keep exploring. I loved the upgrades. So I would go Rise, and then the reboot, and then third place would be Shadow. That's how I'd rank it. Still a really good game, but at this point it kind of starts to feel a little bit dated. I mean, some of the control issues I had in the reboot and in Rise are still there, that I kind of thought with a couple years they would fix a little bit of the floatiness and some of the exactness that isn't there. Again, the combat's fun, but it's just missing that something. It's no worse than Uncharted, I suppose, but what Uncharted has, we talked about this last time, is a sense of charm and wonder and fun and blockbuster movie. This is a little bit more, and I won't even call it depressing. It's not, because I don't care enough about the characters for it to be depressing. It's just a little bit less fun in its overall vibe, and it works. It totally works. It plays great. Some of the sections are really cool. The set pieces are great. Some of the puzzles are very creative. So it's fun. But once I was finished with it, I just thought, if they release or I have access to some kind of DLC for this, do I really think I'll go back? And I just don't think so. Not anytime soon. There's too much stuff coming out. I imagine Red Dead 2 is going to occupy my time into 2019. But so
I'd like to think that I would feel the same way, but I doubt it.
Yeah, mostly. Maybe the Cowboys will get you back on board. Back in the saddle again, huh?
There we go. Little dad joke there.
So I
And
finished.
everybody has turned our show off.
So I finished Shadow. Good game. I'll talk about it more when we do our Game of the Year discussions, assuming that we're still friends. And
coming in at number 1 is Forza Horizon 4 because it's the only game I beat. Yeah.
So that's I did want to mention that real quick. I finished that. There's other games I'm playing too, but I'll come back to my stuff later. I just wanted to comment on Forza since you just talked about Forza Horizon 4. I did play it again when I accidentally discovered that, oh yeah, I have early access to this thing. So I downloaded it and fired it up. And of course, first thing I noticed was this thing is gorgeous. This looks so good. It looks beautiful on the Xbox One. I'll go a step further than you saying it looks great. It just looks gorgeous. I always thought Forza Horizon 2 looked really great. I never played 3, but I thought 2 was a really pretty game as well. But man, 4 just knocks your socks off. And that's when you're driving, especially going full speed and looking at the scenery. Not so much when the people get out of the cars and go talking. Then it starts to look more like a standard video game, whatever. But that's not what the game's for. The game is all about the cars. It's all about the road and the environment, and it nails those things. So this one's got to be in the best looking game category when it comes back up. And it's just a really good looking game, and it's fun. It's certainly arcadey because although you can easily at these speeds lose control and start fishtailing and kind of lose it and go spinning out, and you just can't. Even with the rewind tool, it's really tough sometimes to get your bearings. So, but I like that. I like that it's not Mario Kart. It's not supposed to be. So there is a touch of realism to the momentum, but it's way more arcadey when it comes to going at those speeds and controlling those cars. And I'm so glad that it is because it makes it fun for me. And like you said, my kids, we actually went around and handed the controller from person to person to take turns just cruising around the countryside. And it was really fun. Really, really fun. All the kids liked it. Even none of my 5-year-old was playing it and cruising and flying over hills.
Busting through like the brick.
Oh, when you hit the stone walls and the stones start flying. Yeah.
Which is like part of the cover art. And I didn't realize it until I kept doing it all the time. Like, man, all these stone walls, and I just keep busting through all of them.
Very poorly built. You would think at least one of those sections would stop your car, but whatever. No. So yeah, no, we've had a blast with that. Played it for maybe 2 hours total, sharing the controller with some kids. I think I did 2 or 3 of I think they're called the sprints or the whatever they're called. Did a couple of those little races, and it's great. It looks great. It's what I remember from Forza Horizon 2. So as a non-hardcore fan of this series or of car games in general, not really sure what this one does that 2 didn't do, but I do know it looks better than I've ever seen a car game or any game really look. So
I think
I'll give it that.
I think it's kind of like sports franchises, and that
little tweaks here and there.
Yes, it's just little tweaks, and that's why I said when I was talking about it, I was like, you know what you're getting with this game, just like if you buy Madden, you know you're getting a football game that might
add a new little ability for the quarterback to lead the receivers.
But you know what you're getting. But the thing that separates and why I'm pretty confident I'm going to end up saying that Forza Horizon 4 is going to be my all-time favorite, or maybe tied with Burnout Paradise for my all-time favorite racer. And this is coming from the guy who loved Horizon 2. That was one of my favorites, is because of the world. It's not because I'm going to be like, well, 4 plays better than 2. They probably play exactly the same, maybe little tweaks that I can't tell the difference because I can't remember 2 that much because that's, 4 years ago?
Yeah, it's a while back.
But even recently playing 3, I don't feel like 4 drives better than 3 or moves better, looks better. It all kind of looks the same, but the world is what I like. It's, that's what stands out. I really like the world. I do like how they have some that I feel like there's more personality too, like with your avatar, they give you like emotes. My kids are obsessed with Fortnite. They're getting me to play it with them now, and that's all they want to buy. They want to buy skins and dance moves and emotes. Yep. And that's
all football players do now too when they score touchdowns, is they're doing all these Fortnite dances.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so that's one of the things in Forza Horizon 4 that I don't remember being in any of the other Horizon games is there's a lot of outfits for your character. There's a lot of unlocks for your character, and then there's emotes and stuff like that for before races and after races, all that stuff. So there's a lot of personality to the game. I really, really, really like it. Like I said, for the mood I'm in, for the year I'm having, at least for now, again, I have no idea if I'll change or stay the same. This is the type of game that I'm connecting with. It's just something I can pick up, play for 10 minutes, an hour, whatever. Like today, I was busy today, but when I was home, I looked at the clock. I was like, I know, again, this isn't going to be a big deal for a lot of people, but for me right now, it is. I was like, man, I've been playing this for an hour straight, which normally after about 20 minutes, I'm like, nah, I'm done. I'm gonna go take a nap or go run or go play a song.
All right,
or something.
so real talk then. Does that make you? How does that make you feel when you realize that you're just not? You don't want to sit there for long gaming sessions and you're struggling. How does it make you feel?
How does it make
Seriously,
me feel?
does it bum you out? Like this isn't something I enjoy as much anymore, or are you glad? You're like, I'm glad. I wanted to move on to some other stuff.
What's funny is I've always said, and I've probably some people in our group have known me since the Fuse days on GameSpot. So I want to say that's like 7 years ago. And one of the things I've always said, I don't say it all the time, but I would say it. I would say there will be a day when I'm done. Like I will move on. It's my personality. Like I like something and then I get over it. Am I done with gaming? No, I don't think I'm done with gaming. I don't think I'll ever be done with gaming. I just think I look back at this year has been a year of like standing in front of the mirror and going, this is who you are. Like God has taken this, I don't want to get all spiritual stuff, like the scales off my eyes. This is who you are. And there are certain things in your life that you were doing too much of and certain things you weren't doing enough of. And do you really want to go back to that? Nobody's forcing me. These are all my decisions. Some people are going to read into this and be like, Derek's wife's telling him to stop gaming. Nope, it's me. I just look at it and I'm like, you know what? I just don't care to play this much. And like I said, I'm not connecting with a lot of games. There was a few times where I played God of War for like 3 hours straight, and it was cool at that time. But overall, the entire experience with God of War was kind of painful. Like it was not as fun as I remember games being just last year. It was just kind of like, okay, I don't really want to do this. Like it almost felt like a drag. And I just think it's just where I'm at. Like this is how I know I won't be like this forever. Like I am not lying when I say this, and Tim knows I'm not one of those little nerds that's like, oh, love working out, guys. I'm buff. But like I actually look forward to running and walking like I looked forward to playing video games last year. I prefer to do that than I do this. And, I prefer to hang out with my family and go places. Like I'm always, texting Megan like, hey, let's go to dinner. Let's do this. Like I want to go out. And she's like, that's not who you are. I was like, that's who I am now. How long it lasts, I don't know. But for right now, does it bum me out? No, not really. I mean, does it make it harder to do this show? And do I get afraid people are going to be like, I don't want to listen to Derek anymore because he doesn't have anything to say? Sure. But I'm still playing, like I'm still relevant. Like I might not beat the games as fast as everybody else, but I'm still playing what they're playing and I'm able to talk about it and be educated on it. I'm just not getting through games as fast as I used to, and I'm not as passionate about it. But I still get excited. Like today or tonight before you and I started recording, I came over to the computer because I was like, oh, I can't wait to start downloading Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Like I still want to see if I can connect with that game. Just like I was excited about Horizon. I was like, oh, my mind was like, why are you buying the $100 version? You don't even care about gaming anymore. Like, well, I was like, well, because I can get it discounted, and I'm kind of excited about this game. And boom, sure enough, I start playing it. I'm like, yeah, I'm so glad I bought the more expensive version because it comes with everything, and this is definitely a game I'm going to connect with. So I'm still gaming.
You should look at this as an opportunity, and your opportunity now, not only to better yourself physically and mentally and relationship wise with your family. Those are all good.
Yeah.
But also, it's a chance for you to finally dive into mobile gaming, and I think
Just complete the complete transformation
yes,
of
that
a
would do it.
dirty,
That
filthy, casual piece of crap.
that would do it. So I would like you to start playing mobile games and report back every week. Derek's Mobile Corner, we'll call it. It's gonna be great.
Question though, since you bring up mobile gaming, did you throw your Switch out? Because clearly everything on that thing is trash, and you should just burn it with fire.
Okay,
Because
so I didn't throw it out, but I did put up a question earlier this week. I was on a trip to San Antonio this past week for work. So of course I had my Switch with me, and I was playing a handful of games that I've been playing while listening to podcasts, like Picross S2, which is a fun puzzle
Awesome.
game.
such a great game.
It's a puzzle game. It's fun. Into the Breach, which is I've talked about that before. It's a very fast paced. Doesn't have to be fast paced. You can slow it down if you want, but it is a kind of a roguelike Advance Wars, sort of. So anyway, I really like that one a lot too. It's tough though. It's really tough. I've beaten it a few times, but you can keep unlock. They have a good unlock system. So I'm playing some Into the Breach, and then I noticed that I've got a handful of games that I have not tried yet or really given enough attention to on my Switch. So I put the poll up in our group between, I think the options were Darkest Dungeon, Undertale, Hyper Light Drifter, and some other indie game that Derek loves. So the vote was overwhelmingly, I shouldn't say overwhelmingly, Darkest Dungeon was close, but it was mostly Undertale. So I dove into Undertale because I had already purchased it. It got rave reviews, and I couldn't wait to play it.
Man,
I played this game for maybe an hour and a half. I don't like it.
No, it's not good.
Did you play it? Did you try it?
I have it on PC. I booted it up and I was like, no. Garbage.
So it's got some clever dialogue, but that's most of what it is just a lot of dialogue. I thought it was kind of meant to be a throwback to old RPGs, and it's gonna have a lot of humor and personality, but the combat is basically you encounter an enemy, you can either try to talk to it, and there's 4 options, and they all kind of do similar things, or you can fight it, and even if you talk to it, they might still fight you. And the little fight is this tiny little square where you are a dot trying to avoid all the other shapes that are coming at you for a set amount of time. And that's it. You just have to avoid them. I don't know. I thought it was incredibly boring. I did not find it that compelling. So I'm sorry, Undertale folks. Maybe I need to play a little more to see what it's about. I don't know. I don't like it. Nope. So I didn't like Undertale at all. So I am pretty sure I'm done with that one. But I did try it. I gave it a shot.
Why don't we talk about something else that's a letdown? Can I talk to you about something else that's a letdown besides Undertale? How about Penn State? How about Penn State?
I don't want to talk about them.
How about I'm so sick and tired of them making me feel good for a little while and then just letting me down.
Tell me about it, man. Having a great fourth quarter lead and then letting Ohio State win it barely. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. But I do want an NCAA game so I can defeat Ohio State, since Penn State in real life apparently can't do it.
They should have done it, though. That's why I'm upset. And I wanted to wait until now to talk about it so people would think, oh, they're not going to talk about college football, because we usually talk about it in the beginning. But yes, we are going to talk about how trash Michigan is and how big of a letdown Penn State is. Because in case people don't know, Penn State's my second favorite Big Ten team. And anytime they're playing Ohio State, I'm really a Penn State fan, and they broke my heart.
They had them on the ropes, man, and then they had the worst 4th and 5 play call I've ever seen in my life. But
I'm not very critical of people. I'm not. I'm usually like, well, I try to explain what their thinking was, and so I know on the 4th and 5 play they're going, well, read option. Let's leave it into Trace's hands. But here's the problem: it should be a read pass option. It should not be either handed off to the running back.
I think it might have been, but they brought heat and they dialed in on the running back, and so I don't know. I really hated that call. I hated it. I wanted him just to drop back, and if he can't find an open man, maybe scrambled him. I mean, he'd been making plays the whole night on his feet, so give him a chance to do it. The scramble
towards the end was pretty much taken away because they were putting a spy because he was killing them. Yeah. So they really did need to rely on the pass. That's why I thought at the end, like I said, I'm not usually overly critical. I thought that was a terrible call. In fact, I cussed. I can't say what I said when I saw it. I was like, what the are you doing? That's just okay. But
Yeah, I
I'll
was
let you
very
move
upset.
on because if this was Michigan, I probably wouldn't want to talk about it either.
I hated it. I very loudly kept saying over and over again, that was the play call. That was the play call. That was the play call. I was just really upset. It wasn't just that one. It doesn't always come down to one play, but our defense should not have let them score twice in the fourth quarter. Whatever. It
No.
sucked. It really sucked. We needed that one, and they've beaten us twice in a row by 1 point after we had a big fourth quarter lead, and it's just a dagger.
It played out almost pretty much the same way.
Same as last year, where we looked like the better team for most of that game. It was either evenly matched or Penn State had the edge most of that game, and then they beat us. Anyway, that was a letdown without a doubt. I am playing a few other things though that are not so depressing for me to think about. I do really like. I know that you might call this one trash right at the gate, but I think you should give it a shot if you haven't yet. I played Super Hot since it was free on the Xbox Live. Have you tried it?
I haven't tried it. I have it downloaded.
And I would bet, I've heard that the VR experience is great. I would bet if you have it on VR, maybe play it there. But it's a really creative game where as long as you don't move, everything freezes. Everything from bullets in midair. Now, even if the bullets are in midair and you freeze, they'll move a little bit. They'll just go super slow motion. And so, if there's a shotgun, he'll unload the shotgun. It's a spread shot. So all the bullets kind of freeze in slow motion. So you have a chance to react and plan out where you're going to go. You can quickly pick up items to throw or pick up weapons to shoot. You can punch enemies, knock their gun in the air, and you can take your time and slowly aim at it and grab it, and then slowly aim at them, shoot them, and then turn and shoot another bad guy. And then as soon as you finish a level, it replays your playthrough at full speed, and it looks awesome. It looks like you're fantastic at first-person shooter games because you do everything so quickly, and you're grabbing weapons and throwing at this guy, and then turning and shooting that guy, and then punching this guy and grabbing his gun and shooting him and his friend.
Is there a plot at all? Story? Anything?
There is a really weird, computers are controlling you, the gamer, a little bit. So they communicate with you between things where they're slowly trying to mess with your head and take you over. And there actually is kind of a moment where you're like, ooh, that was a little dark. But for the most part, it's just they're kind of like challenge rooms. And I believe there are actually additional challenges you can play. So story-wise, it's very light. It's definitely there. There's probably some more lore there that I could have dug into, but I just kind of skipped through a lot of that stuff. Yeah, there's a few moments that I thought that was pretty clever, but for the most part, it is just a very interesting way to lay out a first-person kind of strategy. It's really interesting. So I like Super Hot a lot. It was very easy to complete the main campaign, but there are a ton of challenges and extra things that opened up when I beat the main campaign. It's a very short game, but I think it's worth trying. You got it for free. And I know that the visuals kind of look like Mirror's Edge because it's white everywhere, but then all the characters are like this red glass, and they are kind of made out of glass because when you shoot them, they shatter. And that effect is actually pretty cool. So anyway, I won't say too much more about it. I'll let you try it because some of the gameplay mechanics are pretty fun to discover on your own. So I think Super Hot was pretty fun. I like that one a lot.
Was it super hot?
I don't know about that, but when you finish each level, the words do flash really big across the screen, and a computerized voice goes, super hot, like over and over again. That was a little bit weird.
That's what I have playing in my background whenever I get ready for work.
Super hot,
Super
right?
Super
Yeah,
hot.
that's my ringtone.
Yeah.
Trying to think if there's anything else I'm playing. I don't think so. I tried Undertale. I do think I might try Darkest Dungeon this week if I get some time. But Forza has my attention. I think it's fun. I think it's beautiful. I'm interested in unlocking some cars. I'm certainly not a car guy. So when I go to the tune up your car screen, I actually laughed out loud. I was like, I don't know how to do any of this stuff. I don't know how to adjust.
I'm not a car guy either.
I don't know how to adjust any of this stuff. So I'm just looking to save up money, like you mentioned, and buy some nicer cars. And it's just fun and pretty to look at. So I'll play that a little bit this week in anticipation of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which comes out this Friday, which is awesome. I'm pumped for that.
Or Tuesday for us elitists.
Does it come out Tuesday for us?
Not for you. I have it on PC.
Oh, you suck. All right.
I bought the $100 version on PC. That was before you and I started game sharing on the One X, and then you bought the regular version on the One X.
I did buy the regular version. I ended up spending my extra dough on the special version of Red Dead Redemption 2. That's the one I'm most excited about, obviously.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk real quick about how quarter 3 went, I want to do a quick review of that before we wrap up and talk about, because we are now at the end of the third quarter of the year. We are 75% of the way through 2018.
Yep.
And it's time to look back at July, August, September. There's not a ton to talk about, but I figured it was worth reviewing some of the major releases. And I know you haven't played a ton, but you've at least tried a decent amount of games, even though even if you haven't finished them.
Yeah.
So I'll mention some of these, and if you feel like it's worth noting as, yeah, that was a really good one or whatever, feel free to jump in.
Okay.
I will skip a lot of the re-releases and remasters unless they're significant. So in July, we had Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, which was a pretty significant re-release. I only played the demo. It's fun, but I'll wait for that one to go super cheap. And on that same day, on July 13th, we had Octopath Traveler, which I've shared how much I love. And I'm about 20 hours into it, have no plans to quit. I just haven't played it in a couple weeks. I will definitely keep playing it. Are you pretty much done with that? You get what that game is and you're okay not playing it anymore?
I sold it already.
Okay. Octotrash, whatever you call it.
I mean, it's not a bad game. I mean, I make fun of the name, but I think it's a good game. It's just not what I'm wanting to play now.
That's a pretty significant release. And Square, with the success of this game, has said they're looking to do more games like this and really double down on the Switch, which they clearly did with Final Fantasy stuff already with the re-releases that are coming to the Switch.
Nintendo as one third party is over.
Yeah, for
Which
sure.
is good.
No Man's Sky came out on Xbox One in July on the 24th. And the reason that's significant is because it rolled out with a major update for all platforms, which made the game much more compelling. Still a little too complicated / boring for my interest long term, but it took up a weekend. Like I had fun with it again for a weekend. It was fine. And then Banner Saga 3, I think they wrapped up that storyline for those of you who like the Banner Saga series. One that I still have not gotten into, the Banner Saga games.
Too much reading for me on that too.
A ton of reading. So yeah, if you're really into story-driven, dialogue-driven games, I think Banner Saga might be right up your alley.
If your name's like Michael McClendon and you like to read books, then play that game.
That man, he's a Hollywood actor, okay? Do not besmirch his good name. All right. Yep. Let's see. Anything else in July? Nothing else really of note in July. A bunch of re-releases on Switch, of course. They continued to roll out pretty much every week, if not multiple times a week, waves of, I would say about a third of it was completely useless, and they should have filtered some of it out. And then a good amount of it was okay. And then about another third was really high quality stuff that was already out elsewhere. So I would say they've done a pretty good job, but their filter to me isn't strong enough. They're letting through some real garbage onto the Switch, which is a bummer. Yakuza 0 came out. That was for PC.
Yeah.
We're in August now. Oh, WarioWare Gold came out for the 3DS on August 3rd. More notably, on August 7th was Dead Cells, which is, of course, marred by the IGN plagiarism scandal that ended up getting Philip Mewson fired and just caused a whole bunch of problems and a whole lot
Philip
of fun.
Became really popular in our group.
Oh, his memes and his picture just became hilarious to use in just about any scenario. Just put up a picture of Philip in response, and it worked perfectly. Dead Cells, one of my favorite games this year. You'll be hearing me talk about that one a lot in Game of the Year stuff. I love Dead Cells. And Overcooked 2, which I have not played yet. And I'll be honest, the reason I have not spent money on that one yet is because it looks like a lot more of the first, which was a fun game. And if I want to play Overcooked, I'll play Overcooked 1. I don't really see the need to play Overcooked 2 personally. So I've skipped that one so far. All right, moving on here. Okami HD came to Switch. Madden NFL 19 came out. Did you get Madden by any chance? I know I didn't.
No.
Okay. We Happy Few, which I think you did get, right, on the Xbox One?
I was planning on getting it, but then when they said it was basically trash, I was like, no, I'll pass.
I think it's in the 70s on the average in its review, which means it's one of those that, hey, it's on some crazy holiday sale in the next year or two. Then maybe check it out.
Yeah, I heard it has bugs. And excuse me, if people don't know, I'm tired and it's late. I think the story wasn't that great, which is kind of what I was hoping.
Okay. Visuals looked kind of cool with the masks and stuff. Looked a little bit Dishonored-esque in some ways, but looks like it didn't quite deliver for a lot of people. Death's Gambit came out, which is supposed to be another Dark Souls type game, but I do believe disappointed on a lot of levels for folks.
Yeah.
This is actually of note. The Walking Dead final season episode 1 came out on August 14th, but now we know that Telltale Games has shuttered its doors and its folks are essentially gone. I don't know that they're going to finish the final season of Walking Dead. I don't think
originally they were not going to. They were just going to release the first 2 episodes and then they were done. And then they came back and posted saying we're looking into potentially getting. Basically, I think they might get funded by somebody else to finish episodes 3 and 4.
Crew to finish out the last
yeah, but a lot of people were attacking them, basically saying, "Well, you need to pay your employees before you even try to release this and all this crap."
Yeah, that's a messy situation with Telltale. I mean, we always talk about, wow, that seems like too many games for a small studio to take on, and it turns out it kind of was. And sounds like there were a lot of other issues going on there. Let's move on here in August. See, Guacamelee 2 came out to very little fanfare. I did not hear a lot of conversation about Guacamelee 2, which is interesting because the first one was so critically acclaimed. I know the second one got good reviews, but no one's really talking about it. And then they released
because I think the first one released when the consoles first launched, and that was during like the whole indie is everything. I don't know if people remember, but back in 2013, every indie game was amazing. Now it's not like that. There's just a ton of indie games. There's too many games and nobody cares. Guacamole is crap.
It is not crap. I know I defend a lot of indie games, but Guacamelee games are high quality. But
it's high quality crap. It's boring is all I'm saying. I'm not saying they don't play well. I played the first one because it was free. I didn't beat it, but I just played it to be like, okay, everybody says it's amazing. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is not fun at all.
You hate that genre. I mean, that's like me playing, I don't know. What's a genre that I hate? A one-on-one like versus game and saying it's total crap, even if it plays great. Crap. Oh, boy. All right, let's see. Shenmue 1 and 2 were released. If you are into the Shenmue games, which I am on record as saying these games are incredibly overrated, and nostalgia has bitten people pretty hard on these. Yeah. They're not good games.
Play a good game like Yakuza. That does
exactly, yes. If you're interested in like that Japanese culture and a good storyline in that type of setting, Yakuza all the way, without a doubt. Let's see. F1 racing game. Oh, Into the Breach came to Switch. That's significant for me because it's one of my favorite games. It was out on PC earlier this year, so it is a 2018 game. Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, which is classic Capcom. They like the long mouthful of names. For the Switch, came out to actually pretty decent reviews. Not amazing, but pretty decent. Kind of a step back from World in terms of its accessibility. So if you're like me and you loved World, this one is a step back to kind of the more old school, obtuse version of the game. And that doesn't mean it's bad. It's actually it's a much deeper game with a lot more monsters to fight, a lot more loot. It's just much more complicated and not as streamlined. Soccer games came out. Yakuza Kiwami 2. Is that out? Oh, I didn't know that came out already. Okay. All right, so that came out to PS4 at the end of August, as did The Messenger, which I like, but I can confirm it's got a little bit more hype and love than it probably deserves. That game is maybe a solid 7.5 out of 10. And you're talking to someone, Derek knows this. I love Metroidvania, platformy, kind of old school games, and that's exactly what The Messenger is. And so I am the target audience, and I think folks are giving this one a little bit too much credit. They're not being critical enough on The Messenger. It is funny, and it is kind of fun to play, but I don't know. Maybe it's because I played Dead Cells right before it, and I never stopped playing Dead Cells. So maybe The Messenger just didn't feel right to me. And Divinity Original Sin 2 dropped on consoles at the end of August as well. So, which I have not played. I've not played that.
I'll buy it when it's like super cheap.
Now, here's one that I know you have played and I have not. Dragon Quest XI came out on September 4th. Mm-hmm. And you were saying you like this one even more than Ni no Kuni 2. From what you played.
Yeah. I just thought I thought like, well, they play differently. Ni no Kuni 2 is more action. This is old school turn-based. But I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was a really good looking game, and it just looked like it's fun.
It's interesting. I mean, because it's definitely that anime style of art, but you were saying how amazing it looks on your PC,
looks,
right?
Yeah. True native 4K, not that fake crap.
All right. Then we had a whole bunch of kind of franchise games released in September as well. Everything from NASCAR to NBA to FIFA have all dropped this month. Spider-Man, of course, dropped on September 7th for the PS4. I love it. Love Spider-Man. So between Dead Cells and Spider-Man and Octopath, there was at least one game that I personally found to be truly excellent each month this quarter.
I would say, I know it's not technically a new game, but the Forsaken expansion for Destiny 2 was absolutely amazing.
It's worth mentioning.
It felt like a new game for me.
Yep, it's worth mentioning. I mean, we did that back when they released Taken King for the first Destiny. We had to give it props because it took a game that was, for the most part, disappointing for fans who were looking forward to it, and it really upped the ante and took it to the next level. So
yeah, and I think this one kind of does the same thing.
It seems like this one has done a lot of that same work for Destiny 2, which is awesome.
Which I already thought Destiny 2 was great, but I just think Forsaken was a lot of fun.
They did put out Wasteland 2 Director's Cut on the Switch, which I've heard plays really well and is the way to play. If you don't play on PC, that's the way to do it. But I have heard that some little nitpicky issues, like, for example, in handheld mode, the text can be tough to read because it's so small, things like that. Shadow of the Tomb Raider dropped on September 14th. Again, really good game. I don't know. It's going to struggle to land high in my top 10, but outside of some surprises, I think it will be in my top 10 this year. I do like it. I like the character of Lara Croft, despite my complaints about the overall game feeling just kind of like she's Debbie Downer all the time. But I do like her character. There are certainly moments where she's easy to like. But anyway, good game. Really, even a really good game. Just not. It didn't blow me away like Monster Hunter World, God of War, some of these other ones from this year. Spider-Man. Undertale came to Switch. I talked about that already. Not a big fan. Here's another big update that kind of deserves recognition as almost its own game. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna the Golden Country came to Switch. And I've been reading fantastic things about this. They're saying that everything that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was kind of missing. And that was one of my favorites from last year. We talked about this a lot. They're saying that Torna the Golden Country makes it so much better. It just improves the experience in just about every way. I've heard the story's better. I've heard they've streamlined some of the stuff that you do with battling. I don't know all the details. I haven't read enough about it. But I do know it's getting great reviews from those who have played it and those who didn't really love the base game. So that one's worth mentioning.
Did you beat Chronicles 2?
I never did. No,
I tried to go back to it because I think I posted a couple weeks ago, maybe last week. I got a left Joy-Con for my broken Switch, and I had to replace my AC adapter as well because Eli broke that. But anyways, so I turned Xenoblade Chronicles 2 back on and started playing it and died right away and was like, I'm done with this.
Yeah, I think I would probably have to. It's pretty sad because I probably played that game for like 30 hours maybe. Like I played it a lot.
Pretty much where I'm at.
You know what?
I don't know because my system tells me I've been playing it for 180 hours, which I know is BS. I'm guessing I'm around
sleep
30.
Mode.
Yeah,
probably sleep mode stuff. South Park did release their original RPG on the Switch as well, so now you can play both of those on the go with Stick of Truth is now on the Switch. That was on September 25th. Nothing else is really jumping out at me. Oh, Valkyria Chronicles 4, duh. That one I'm very interested in, but other than seeing that it's getting great reviews, I've never really gotten into that series. They say it's a tactical RPG game. It looks like a lot of fun, so I need to look into that one a little bit more.
I think it's something you should probably buy the remastered that came out for the PS4, and then buy this one, both when they're like super cheap, because I can guarantee you'll like them.
Okay. They did put Hollow Knight out on PS4 and Xbox One, so those of you other console owners who don't have a PC or Switch, you can finally play this Very high quality Metroidvania game. Dragalia Lost. All right. That's pretty much. Oh, there's also. I'm going to talk about Dragalia Lost for a second. There's also Dragon Ball Fighter Z for Switch and then FIFA 19, which I mentioned. So Dragalia Lost is actually Nintendo's next big mobile game. And it is a action RPG. It's got some really cool anime style visuals. It reminds me a little bit of something like Crystal Chronicles, maybe not quite as like chibi style as that, but it's a free game and you jump right in. There's kind of an interesting little classic storyline, and it's what you expect on a phone game. You kind of drag in the direction that you want the character to move. You tap on stuff to attack it. There's a button that as you charge up your attacks, you can do a special move, or you can. There's a dragon transformation because your characters turn into dragons. You can recruit other characters, and of course, that's where the money comes into play because it is free to play. You can pay to buy all the different types of I forget what it's called. It's the gems or whatever it is you need to buy new characters and unlock new things and new dragons. So that's how they make their money. But you can play, from what I can tell, a lot of the main story just by downloading it and playing it. And so it's solid. It's fine. It's got really high production value. My son Shepard especially likes it a lot. He likes the RPG pieces of looting stuff and making money and then selling whatever else and then leveling up his character. So he likes it a lot. I tried it on the plane. I thought it was good. It's fine. It's got a nice touch of like Nintendo high quality on it. There's some pieces of the menus that remind me a little bit of Fire Emblem Heroes. So yeah, pretty solid game for mobile there. I'm not at first I was like, man, I wish they would put stuff like this on Switch. And then when I played it, I was like, no, this makes sense as a mobile game. I don't need this on Switch. It's fine. It's fine as a free to play. So Dragalia Lost is also out. So those are kind of the main releases that have come out in Q3. Not an overwhelming quarter, I don't think, but there's some solid stuff between Octopath Traveler, Spider-Man, Dead Cells. I think there were some really quality games. And of course, games like Forza Horizon 4. Is that technically released last week, or is that technically come out this coming week?
It technically comes out the 2nd of October.
Okay.
That's its official release.
Okay. So stuff like that. Of course, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Got to give credit to those games. They are high quality as well. But really, for me, I'm looking at Metacritic's ratings too for the last 3 months. Divinity Original Sin 2 on the Xbox One and PS4, that is dominating Q3's rankings with 95 and 92 ratings. Forza Horizon 4 is sitting at a 92 right now. Dead Cells is at a 91. Games like Sonic Mania Plus are at a 91. Into the Breach is at a 90. Okami HD. Oh, Banner Saga 3 has an 88. That's pretty good. I didn't know it got that good of reviews. People are liking Monster Hunter World, the PC version that came out this quarter. And a few Spider-Mans I got an 87. So there you go. They're a pretty, I would say, solid, but not an overwhelming in terms of volume of really super high quality games, which is part of why I'm not sitting here thinking, man, you're missing out on so much. It's too bad you're going through this life phase right now. Like, I think this is actually the time to do it. I mean, there's not a ton of stuff that, knowing you, I would say, wow, Derek is missing out on this thing he would love. I do think you'll like Spider-Man if you're in the right mode to play that. I think you will land at the same place I am with Shadow of the Tomb Raider, that it's good, but I don't know that it's one that you'll say you want to immediately do New Game Plus. It does have a New Game Plus mode, but I'd be a little bit surprised if you finished that and thought, I can't wait to dive back in. Maybe you will, but
yeah, I was gonna say, and I forgot to say it when we were talking about Tomb Raider, that I like the reboot a lot. Like, I beat it like 5 times. Rise, I like the story better, but I actually didn't like the game nearly as much as I like the reboot. Like, I struggled to beat it a second time, which I recently did.
Yeah,
they
might have tried to do a little too much. The first one was so focused, whereas the second one was
I just liked how I don't know. There's something about the first one. I think it was just a ton of action. This third one, I've actually enjoyed it a lot, which is weird because they toned it down a little bit. But I actually am enjoying the stealth. Like, I'm enjoying using the bow and arrow, which is not something I normally use in any game, and I definitely don't use it in the Tomb Raider games normally. But I've been using it a lot, and I've been enjoying stealthing through levels or areas. My big issue is, like I said, I get to like a puzzle area and I'm like, even though I know I can figure this out, I'm like, I don't even want to look at this.
So some of my nitpicks for it, I think, again, something I might have overlooked a few years back, but I feel like games are getting to the quality of some of the highest produced movies these days, and so when I feel like they phone in certain aspects of the game, it makes me roll my eyes and ruins the experience a little bit. So one of the things with Shadow of the Tomb Raider that is hard to ignore is the fact that they travel deep into the jungles of Peru to this hidden village of people that have been hidden from the rest of the world for a long time, and everyone in the village is fluent in English, and no one like it's little things like that. I'm like, this is just kind of dumb. But they've all somehow heard of Lara Croft. When she mentions her name, they're all like, oh, so maybe there's some room for, well, there's an explanation for that. Maybe. Okay, fair. Maybe there's someone who came in and taught them English, or, maybe her story has been shared. I don't know. All I'm saying is it felt a little bit, it was hard for me not to roll my eyes at certain pieces of that. That just felt, maybe that's why I really liked the reboot a lot. And I liked it a lot more than Shadow, was because that one felt gritty and real, and I felt like desperate the whole time because she was in a desperate situation the whole time. So anyway, I those are kind of nitpicky. It didn't ruin the game, but it was certainly hard not to notice. Wow, everyone here speaks really good English, even the little tiny kids, and they all have very kind of inner city Mexican accents. This is interesting. This is an interesting village here in the deep heart of Peru, but I digress. All right. So that does it for episode 140. That wraps us up. I'm hoping to play some Assassin's Creed in the next 5 days here, and maybe some Forza Horizon 4 as I wait for that to drop.
I plan on playing more Forza, and then I'm excited to at least start Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Maybe it hooks me, maybe it doesn't. Like I said, the other two games hooked me when I first started them, but then after about 4 or 5 hours in, I was like, okay, I don't really care to play these right now. So I don't know.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed, for me personally, I've never been let down by an AC game. That's just me personally. I know some people hated 3 or really don't like the ship battles in 4. I've liked all of them, and I think they've gotten better and better over time for the most part. I thought Syndicate was brilliant. I thought Origins was even better, and now I'm expecting Odyssey to be just,
I've actually heard, maybe I just saw like a post, people saying that Odyssey isn't as good as Origins, but even if it's at Syndicate's level, but still has like that Origins feel to it, I would think that I would like it.
Yeah,
so
me too.
We'll see.
All right, well, we might touch base on that next week. We'll see how our schedules go. But Derek, for now, thank you for taking time and staying up late to chat. And thank you, listeners, for somehow making it through another episode. We'll see you guys next time.
Who is your daddy? I am the father.
You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?